Hey guys, I'm Isaiah Rand. I'm really sorry. It's been a while since I've been on my channel making videos. Been busy with school and work. Sorry, that's a typical excuse you might hear from me. I'm still trying to make as many videos as I can. I'm gonna try to come out with 2 videos today, and sometimes I say that and it doesn't happen. But this is gonna be a fun, easy video. I skipped out last week. I also want to do the NFL this week. I don't think I've done the NFL at all so far, which is disappointing. But I would like to do the NFL and even get an early prediction of who's going to make the playoffs. Just need a little bit more info. It's just hard to really gauge anything off of 2 NFL football games. But anyway, I'm going to do a lot less games this week. I'm just going to do the top 25. That's easier. And so let's get started. There's not a whole bunch of good games. Georgia over Vandy. It says Georgia by 36. Shit, I'll give Georgia by 45. They're going to cover the spread easily. Penn State over Villanova. They should cover this 29.5 point spread pretty easily too. Wisconsin and Notre Dame. This is a game I've been split on. Wisconsin's former quarterback transferred to Notre Dame. He is now the starting quarterback there. He's thrown for over 828 yards in 2 games, and he has actually thrown for touchdown passes. Meanwhile, Wisconsin's quarterback has yet to throw for a touchdown pass, has thrown 2 interceptions against Penn State and only 185 yards, and has not reached over 200 yards passing in a game. His opponents were Eastern Illinois, or Eastern Michigan, I mean, and Penn State. So he's had one game where he should have definitely reached it. Even if they're run-heavy offense, he only had 141 yards, but he was 14-17. My concern is, can he make enough big plays for Wisconsin to win this football game? I've been leaning towards Wisconsin winning this football game, but personally, I think Notre Dame has a better quarterback advantage. It's just they have a very bad offensive line at this point. Giving up the second most sacks in the country, very surprising from a Notre Dame football team, especially when they haven't played anybody so far at all. Their 3 games, they're not good teams. Not impressive victories. And Wisconsin's loss was, you can say, somewhat impressive. We all believe Penn State's probably going to be a pretty good team. I believe that's probably everybody in the nation. We're talking about 41-38 win over Florida State, 32-29 over Toledo, and 27-13 over Purdue. They were a little bit better over Purdue, but it took most of the game to finish that one off and close it out. It's hard to have confidence in really either one of these teams. Vegas is giving the odds to Wisconsin, but I'm probably going to regret this, but I'm going to pick Notre Dame. They have a better quarterback. That's not everything. Obviously, everything else can matter. Everything else matters too, but I'm going to go with Notre Dame. They definitely have the better quarterback advantage, and they've been able to find a way to tough it out and win every game so far. And it's just the thing about Notre Dame, you can't really count them out. They're always at the end of the year. They're always there. And part of this, I guess, is just me being biased because there's a huge showdown next week with Cincinnati, and it just makes sense. It makes it a lot better of a game if they're both undefeated. So I guess that's even part of the reason why I want Notre Dame to win this game. But I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I'm going to say Notre Dame's going to win that one. Coastal Carolina's going to win. Iowa's going to win. Clemson. I got Baylor over Iowa State. I think Baylor's going to upset Iowa State today. Michigan, Auburn, UCLA, Florida, Michigan State. I got Kansas State over Oklahoma State. Alabama, Oklahoma, Ohio State, North Carolina, BYU, and Oregon. Oklahoma State is a 5-point favorite over Kansas State, but I'm going to go with Kansas State. Neither team's really been impressive so far in a 3-0 start. 21-20 victory over Boise State's not impressive. Boise State's not the team they used to be. 28-23 over Tulsa. And the worst one is 23-16 over Missouri State. That is not impressive to begin the season at all for Oklahoma State. They've been able to persevere and survive tough games, but they haven't played anybody very good. You can maybe say Tulsa was good. They've been giving people a challenge so far that are solid teams. But, Kansas State really hasn't played anybody either. But 24-7 over Stanford. They're really the only bad game that really shouldn't have been close is Southern Illinois. 31-23 victory for Kansas State. They demolished Nevada. Quality opponents haven't been as good other than Stanford. Well, actually, honestly, the quality opponents have been better. Boise State and Stanford are the only quality opponents either team's played. So it's really hard to gauge this game. You just look into a lot of the stats, maybe how their offensive line's doing. To be honest with you, I didn't take as much time into doing that this week as I would like. So I'm kind of going out in the left field here. But that's why I'm picking Kansas State, is because just looking off schedule, resume, they look more impressive. And Oklahoma State just doesn't look good, especially off schedule. They don't look like they can hang enough points. I'm going to go with Kansas State. The game that I saved for last, maybe it's because I'm an Arkansas guy and I'm biased, Arkansas and Texas A&M. Arkansas has not won that game in 9 years. The last 9 games Arkansas has lost. It's a pretty horrible thing. 5 of those games, though, went into overtime, I believe. Or 5 of those games were... Hold on. 5 of those games were... Hold on. I'm sorry about that, guys. Three were in overtime. 2 were one-score games. I did not want to say that wrong. And that's just the thing. There's been some really horrible teams. One even pointed out the Chad Morris team that almost won. Arkansas has been up even double digits in some of these games, or been up real late in the fourth quarter. Even, they just went to overtime and they almost had it. It's been a very close series, no matter how bad the team is. I don't see any reason to believe this year's going to be different, whether it's just because it's a rival game or the fact that the teams are both improved, or that both teams are improved. At least Arkansas is improved. A&M at this point may be much worse than they were last year. Not really seeing a lot of awesome things to rave about with A&M. They didn't give up as many sacks as you would think they have, considering they only won by 3 points against Colorado, but they haven't done a very good job either. And the worst thing about A&M is they haven't been able to stop the run. They've been allowing just Colorado and all the teams that they've played to kind of run all over them. And I had even read an article I thought where somebody, I think they might have been biased towards Texas A&M, was saying how Arkansas was going to have trouble running. And yes, A&M has a talented defensive front, but we're just looking off stats here, and stats don't tell everything, I guess. It could also be because it was a blowout game. But, I mean, even just looking at the New Mexico game, 34-0 A&M victory. They got them to 3-0. New Mexico's quarterback only had 33 yards passing. So, yeah, their defense is good. But the hole in there, and what Arkansas is going to want to do against A&M more than anything, yes, they're going to want to set up the run or maybe set up the pass with the run. But the whole objective here is Arkansas is going to want to run the football. They're more physical and smash mouth, and that's what they're going to do. New Mexico would have had 100 yards rushing if it wasn't for their quarterback getting sacked. They had 10 carries, 49 yards, 8, 27 yards, 6 carries, 20 yards, and a 2 carry, 9 yards, and then they had some negative plays. Then you go back to the Colorado game, and it's basically the same thing. Colorado's quarterback didn't even pass for over 100 yards. This is the second game where that I'm telling you an A&M stat where the quarterback didn't have over 100 yards passing, which is to say a lot about their defensive and their secondary, probably their linebackers. Everything on that defense is pretty talented. But when you look and you see how many yards the quarterback had passing, and then you see that A&M gave up over probably almost 200 yards rushing to Colorado, who's not a very good team, and you can tell that they have flaws. 9 carries, 76 yards. That was a quarterback. KJ Jefferson's definitely a better quarterback or mobile quarterback than Mr. B. Lewis for Colorado. Broussard had 12 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown. Fontenette, 12 for 39. I mean, they did pretty good against A&M. And we even go to the Kent State game. You can say because they were combined that Kent State had over 100 yards passing, but their starting quarterback had 89 yards, 2 interceptions. Once again, awesome. They held them. But when you go to it, the rushing was there. Kent State may have lost by 31 points, but they were able to rush on A&M. And maybe some of this was late game. But like I said, 8 carries, 73 yards, 11 for 60, 8 for 42, 4 for 24, 6 for 11, 7 for 9, and 1 carry for 7 yards. Kent State gashed them more than anybody has all year rushing. It's just, that was the first game of the year, so maybe the run defense is getting better. And as I said, part of what makes this hard is I'm mainly didn't do my best for looking up some of the stats or finding out how much the quarterbacks have been pressured and some of this other stuff. And I'm going a lot off of just some of their resume and stuff. But personally, like I said, Colorado's quarterback didn't even have over 100 yards passing against Minnesota. So even though A&M has a good defense, it also is Colorado's not a very good team, and A&M should not have only won by 3 points and had to have played that late in the fourth quarter. A&M's got to improve. They got an opportunity against the Razorbacks, and that's the thing. Colorado didn't even have a positive rush total in their game against Minnesota. And then you got the Razorbacks, A&M's next opponent, and you just look, when they haven't played really anybody, Texas missed a lot of shots that could have made the game closer, or maybe been a game where Texas could have won, or they missed a few shots. But I just feel Arkansas was a better team altogether. But that game could have been closer. There were some things that Arkansas missed that maybe A&M's quarterback will take advantage of. But you just look at it, the Rice game, their quarterback had 3 interceptions. They passed for more. And that's the thing. All the games against Arkansas, the quarterbacks have passed for more than A&M. Our pass defense may not be as good, but our rush defense definitely did really good. And I think we have the better rush defense than them. We stopped Rice pretty good. They didn't have over 100 yards. They had over 100 yards passing. KJ had over 100 yards passing. We torched them running. And then the Texas game, they barely had over 100 yards passing. That's where our defense did the best on the passing and probably made a lot of people, feel better about us. We gave up quite a bit more rushing, but Robinson's supposed to be a stud. He did pretty decent. Thompson had 44 yards on 7 carries. But other than those two guys, like I said, they did have over 100 yards, but not lights out. Definitely not what A&M was getting, and a much better opponent than what A&M's played, and we didn't give up as many yards. And then it's just, even just talk about how KJ played in that game. He didn't put up a whole bunch of numbers, but he's been, for the most part, accurate. The only game he's really put up a ton of throwing numbers was the Georgia Southern game. He had 366 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 13 of 23. We rushed the ball well. This is the only game we hadn't let anybody throw for over 100 yards, so obviously it's part of the quality of opponent, probably not mostly that we're getting better. But once again, the rush defense was solid, definitely better than A&M's. But once again, we're playing a much better opponent this week. Arkansas is. But this game is in Arlington. It's going to be a very close game. And some of the things about this game that I wanted to talk about is how A&M are third worst in the SEC in run defense currently ranked. They allow 162 yards per game on the ground, 4.1 yards per carry. Arkansas is the 4th best rush attack in the SEC and averages 6.1 yards per carry. So I can see some good ways that KJ Jefferson can get down. This is an article that I'm reading, and I'm taking some of their points out and highlighting it and using it for my support and why I think the Hogs are going to win too. It says A&M survived Colorado in large part because of some timely defense. The Aggies lead the SEC in red zone defense, allowing scores in just 3 of 6 red zone defense opportunities. Although, since 2 of their 3 are missed field goals, it's debatable how much of that is skill and how much is luck. So there's a lot to be said about that. It's hard to really say that they're an amazing red zone defense. We'll find out today. Arkansas, however, is tied for 3rd in the SEC with Alabama for red zone conversions. Arkansas scored on 15 of 16 possessions that reached 10 for touchdowns. A&M is last in the league for red zone offense, scoring on just 8 of 12 opportunities with 3 turnovers in the other red zone. Quarterback pressure. A&M has been poor in protecting its quarterback, allowing 7 sacks on the season, tied for 3rd most in the SEC. Arkansas has only allowed 2. Auburn's the only school to allow fewer. Jalen Catalon, he's an amazing player for the Razorbacks. He's the only FBS player in 2021 to have a double-digit tackle and a 2-interception game. A&M has 5 interceptions thrown, which ties for Florida for the most. I think some of that was King, though. With the other quarterback in, it might be different, but still, Catalan can cause some problems. And Arkansas has some very talented linebackers. Arkansas is a better linebacker group, I'm just going to say that. It's also much more experienced. And that can just be a problem. And with a team that doesn't have the offensive line that they usually would and hasn't and shouldn't have the issues that they're having, it could cause a lot of problems. And I think today is the day. I really like Sam Pittman and what he's doing with the University of Arkansas. there's going to be hard times with the team still. It's only a second year. But I think this is going to get the fan base pumping a lot. I got to say it. I think the Hawks are going to win today. I'm going to pick Arkansas over A&M. And as I said, the other big game that I'm picking, I'm giving Notre Dame the edge over Wisconsin. We'll see how I am on either one of those games. Those are easily the two biggest games on the football schedule today. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Please hit the like, subscribe button. I really appreciate it. I need all the help I can get. I really want to push these videos out to people. I want to show that I know what I'm doing. I want to get more videos, and it helps motivate me. So just please, 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 for me, hit that like button, subscribe, have a great day, enjoy some awesome college football. I'll see you later.